Hi, my name is Jennifer Steck. I live in Lexington, Kentucky, and I am the middle and upper school director for Overstone Cooperative School in Nicholasville, Kentucky. We are a Charlotte Mason cooperative, and I have the pleasure of facilitating high school classes at Overstone. And about 5 years ago, when my daughter was in the eighth grade, I began to think about how to develop a transcript should she want to pursue employment or education beyond high school, which she did. She actually starts college in 2 weeks. And I am also indebted to my brother, who at the time that I began to think about developing a transcript was the vice president for undergraduate admissions at a university in North Carolina. So when she began to take classes on the high school level, I started to think about how do I reflect what she's done at home, what she's done at co-op, and then eventually what she did in dual enrollment classes with the college that she's actually going to be attending, as well as what do I do with some of the training that she took outside of our homeschool and our co-op. So we're going to go through all of those options today in this transcript tutorial. There is a companion tutorial to this for the iOS numbers users. So if you appreciate and use the Apple or Mac platform, then you can go and watch that tutorial. I'll link to that in the video description. And then there is one other video you may also be interested in, especially if you're a Charlotte Mason home educator, and that is a talk that I did in June on the larger room beyond the Charlotte Mason homeschool years. And that has a lot to do with the college application process and how to count credits in a Charlotte Mason environment, et cetera. But this transcript is not based on Charlotte Mason's philosophy of education or anything of that nature. So any homeschool parent could use this. And I do encourage you to share it with your friends and family so that they might hopefully benefit by using a free transcript template. Okay, so let's get started with how the template, what it looks like, and then how it works. So on the top left, you see student information. Now I have developed a hypothetical student. Her name is Elizabeth. She lives in Virginia. And on the left part of the transcript, I have her personal information, including her phone number, email, date of birth, as well as names of her parents. You can edit this, obviously, to be what information you may be needing to submit to an employer or a school. And so I would encourage you to contact them and ask them, what are you looking for in a transcript, and you're more than welcome to edit this template to your needs. On the right side, it has the name of her homeschool and obviously her home address, but just below that is where she has taken some additional courses. So the first source of additional courses would be, of course, the co-op. So you see a superscript there of the number 1, and that will show the employer or the school that she has taken a particular class at co-op instead of home. Number 2 are classes that she's taken through a dual enrollment program. And number 3 are classes, or in this case, training that she has had specifically under a professor at a local university in the area of classical guitar. So again, you can change this to suit your needs, depending on what outside classes your child has taken. I have included in the transcript area for you to record 5 years of classes if you want to begin in grade 8, or you can even begin earlier than that if you're able to. I know that our state allows you to take classes prior to 9th grade and include them in your high school credits. And I think that many students do, for example, take Algebra 1 in their 8th grade year and go on to take higher math in their 11th and 12th grade years and have 5 credits of math and that they can count toward their total credits for graduation. So I did include that extra year if you want to add, but you don't have to, and you don't have to, in fact, you can delete this and use the cumulative GPA of your, let's say if you do grade level 9, 10, 11, and 12, and you can delete this area and use this space for something else. In fact, a couple of days ago, I saw that a mother was using a transcript template for her child to go to school, and that school actually required the transcript to be notarized. And so in this case, for example, she could delete this whole section and put an area for the notary public to do their stamp and their seal. So that's just an option. Okay, so let's go and see how the magic happens in terms of the calculation of the GPA on the transcript. Let's say that Elizabeth took, in her 8th grade year, health and physical education at the co-op, and she earned 1 credit and had a final grade of A. What the template does here, and we're going to not delete these, but we're going to hide these at the end, so they're not going to show up on your printed transcript. But for purposes of showing you how this works, I've made these visible. So when she earns an A, what the spreadsheet does is a lookup function, you see that here, into this grade value lookup table. And so since we're on a 4.0 scale, at least in our house, I suppose you could change this to a 5.0 scale, but you'd have to be very clear with that, that you've done that with the college, because they'd like to know what grade point scale you are on. But what I have here is a 4.0 scale where an A equals a 4, an A minus equals 3.7, a B plus equals 3.3. You could change this if you wanted to, and it'll obviously affect the calculations, but it won't affect the functions up here. But when she makes an A in this class, it returns a 4.0 value, and it multiplies it times a full credit earned. But now let's look at the next 2 lines where it says she's taken a half a credit of financial literacy and a half a credit of typing. And here you can see that she's taken it at home because there is no superscript. In this case, instead of returning a 4.0 value, obviously because she's only earned half a credit, it is going to return a 2.0 value. So that does not artificially inflate her cumulative GPA. Here under or at total credits, what you see is a sum function that adds up all of the credits she has earned in that grade 8 year. And of course, her cumulative credits at that point are also equal to. Now, let's say that she took a basket weaving class and she was a superior basket weaver. And you can see that she received an A and a 4.0. Then her total credits or her cumulative credits, they both include now this total credit earned, and then her cumulative GPA remains at a 4.0. All right, moving on to her grade 9 year. This is when she begins to take more classes. You see, her total credits now are a sum of these credits that she has taken. She's taken Algebra 1 at home. She's taken Integrated Language Arts, Physical Science, Government, and Survey of World Civilization at co-op. And now here I have that she has taken classical guitar for half of a credit from a local professor at a university. And so you see that the calculations, similar to what happened here for grade level 8, the calculations are the same. We're still looking at a grade value lookup of each one of these grades, but now her cumulative credits add up her prior credits plus her new credits to equal 7.5. And her cumulative GPA, I'm going to highlight on this, you can see that it is adding the grade point values of both years, and then it is taking that and it is dividing it by the cumulative credits, and that is how you get the cumulative GPA. We see the very same in grade level 10 and grade 11. What I do want to note here in grade 11 is that we've now added dual enrollment classes taken through Alexandria Christian College in this case. And what I recommend that you do in a transcript is when they take a dual enrollment class that you put in the university or the college's course code for that class. In this case, she took a hermeneutics class. In this case, she took a math class, college algebra. So let's take this college algebra class, for example. This was MA 111 at this school. And if she chooses to apply to this school, then they're going to see this course and they're going to say, okay, so we know that she has taken this class here and we know exactly what class that she took and here's the grade that she made. But let's say that she does not choose to go to the school where she took her dual enrollment classes. What they can do using your transcript is if you include this course code, they can take this course code and look up the transferability of that class of those credits into their school and potentially give your child credit for the classes that she took in her dual enrollment during high school. So I think it's nice if you can to add that course code so that they can look that up. Again, you have the total credits for that year, and you also see the cumulative credits now are the prior year's cumulative credits plus the new credits. And of course, the cumulative GPA is now all of her classes and their grade values divided by the cumulative credits. Do the same in grade 12, and this at the bottom will be the total or the final number of credits she has for high school and her final GPA. And you can see that that is reflected here in her academic summary. So one thing I want to note before we move into the academic summary is that many schools ask you to apply for admission at the beginning of the 12th grade year. So you may not have all of this data yet. You may not have that she has actually earned a credit and had a final grade. In that case, you can delete it. And you see that her cumulative credits will change to 21, obviously, because she has not yet earned those credits. However, what I would recommend that you do is change this field to read planned credits, okay? So, and you can even, and you'll need to go back and you'll need to look at the formulas so that you can edit the formula, but you could even do planned cumulative credits and make that, let's say, a 26 and make this a 6. I think it was a 5 actually. Okay. So that they will see what it will eventually total. And then of course you would want to delete this and you'd want to delete this field. But that lets them see here are the classes that she plans to take her senior year. Okay, so I'm going to go and undo all that I just did so that we're back to the original template. Okay, so in the academic summary, you want to include the graduation date of your student. Obviously, there's a difference in when you're eligible to start school. If you're a December high school graduate, you're eligible potentially to start school in January or February or whenever the college or university begins classes. And if you're a April, May, June graduate, you're eligible to start that fall. So you want to have a graduation date on there. You have the cumulative GPA and total credits. There's also an area where you can put the SAT or the ACT score, but let's say that your child has not taken the ACT and is instead taken a subject test. You might say SAT math test. And you could put in here, you know, that they may have had a particular score in the math subject test that you might want to highlight. Let's say here that your child took AP biology and made a score of 4, and so you want to include that in the academic summary as well. Again, you can edit these to be what you want. You can even delete cumulative GPA and total credits here if you'd like. So that you could put in some more customized information. So that's completely up to you, because obviously the total credits and the cumulative GPA is already down here at the bottom of grade 12. Now, one thing that when speaking with my brother, one thing that is helpful, he said, for the university to know is what kind of grading scale you use at home. And so in our case, we contacted the college to which my daughter wanted to apply, and we used their grading scale in high school. And I included it here on the transcript so that they could see that our understanding of the way that grades were awarded was the same as their understanding of how they would be awarded in college as well. At the bottom here, this is a place for you to sign, put your role and the date. Potentially you and your spouse could do this as co-administrators of the school. You and your student could sign here, or you could just delete this area altogether and put something else here if you'd like. So that's completely up to you. All right, so let's look at the blank transcript. Obviously, you can fill in your student information, school, and additional courses. And as soon as you begin to put in classes here, you're going to see that the total credits, cumulative credits, and the cumulative GPA will now begin to populate in your transcript. So and you'll see that that all the functions begin to work as soon as you enter your first class. If you do want to print out, literally print out a transcript, and you want to hand fill it out, I also included a blank transcript for printing only. That takes away all of these different formulas. But once you have filled out your blank transcript, you recall that here, look how this is hidden now. In your blank transcript, those functions where the magic happens, so to speak, are going to be hidden. If for some reason you wanted to make them visible while you were entering the data, you would just highlight over the rows for those functions, and you would change the text color to black. Where I say you would. Oh, well, I have to actually put in there. Put a class in there. That would help. There we go. All right. Okay. And so that you can see how it is doing the lookups. But if that does not matter to you, then obviously you don't have to change the text color at all. And it can go back to white, and you can enter Spanish class, and you're not going to see any value in that column. And the same goes for the column A over here. Okay, I really appreciate your joining me today. Oh, and by the way, I do want to mention one other thing. When you go to print this blank transcript or the sample transcript, what I have done is I have set the print area to only print not the K column and not the copyright notice here at the bottom, but to only print the transcript itself. So if you want a different print area, you'll need to set the print area yourself. But here you can see that it is a one-page transcript. And you can even save it. I think most applications will let you save it as a PDF as well if you want to email that. So, all right. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this has been a blessing to you. Again, freely share it. And hopefully it will be a blessing to many others as well. Thank you so much.